Mhm.
That how it works? If I get an A.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. All right. Good morning, everyone. Hope all is well. Hope everyone's doing all right. Got a few people still trying to connect their audio, so we'll give them a second. All right. All right. So good morning once again. Hope everybody's doing all right. Hope everybody's doing great. So we're looking at Math 245. Hopefully you guys, well, if you didn't see all of my emails, I know you at least saw one of them, right? You saw the Zoom email. Oh, hold on, somebody's trying to get in. All right, so let's look at emails. So whenever I send you guys emails, they will always be archived in your Canvas announcements. Mm-mm-mm. I can get to it. All right. All right, so it looks like we're gonna move a little slow today. There we go. And so here in your Canvas announcements, whenever I send out a class email, I will archive them here. So you see our greetings, the Zoom one, which most definitely had to get into. The next one I sent, that third one, was talking about access to Math Lab. So if you haven't had the time to check out this one yet, when it comes to Math Lab is going to be our computer component. It's where all of our assessments will be generated. So any homeworks, tests, whatever it is that we're going to do will be generated through MathLab. And we'll talk about MathLab, specifics in a second, but this is just talking about the registration. So if you want to register for MathLab, let me go here and walk through that. So go to mymathlab.com and it'll take you here. If you've never registered before, well, no, you want to register anyway, you're registering for the class. So you hit student, register now as a student, hit OK. And then you type in that course ID. It's going to be Tucker. Let's see, what was it? My stuff is moving slow today. 36797. All right, so you see the courses right here. And if you already have a MathLab account, then you can just type in your information here, username and password. If not, you can create it here and then type all your information, your personal information. All right. So once you've done that, use the course ID, then you have three different options. Now, if you purchase access to MathLab from any outside source, whether it be TCC's bookstore, you purchased it from a friend, Amazon, something along those lines, there will be a 16-digit access code that you will have to type in. Now, if you just purchase access through MathLab itself, they won't give you a code, an access code. They will just give you access because you're right there. There's no need for an access code. And then let's say if you don't have it right now, but you want to get started, then you can use a 14-day free pass. And those 14 days will start on the time that you initiate and you click that link for the 14-day free pass. All right. So any questions about registration? Questions on any of that? Anything I said up to this point?
I do.
Yes.
I ordered mine from the TCC bookstore last week.
Mm-hmm.
It still hasn't come in yet. It should be here this week.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming the 14-day pass will keep it together until I get it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So the 14-day free pass, it'll hold you for 14 days. If by some chance it doesn't get to you by the time the 14 days are up, what it will do is it will lock you out. It will not erase what you've done or any progress up to that point. I will still have access to your stuff. You just wouldn't until you get that access code, and then you'll be able to type it in, and then they'll give you access. You'll be able to pick up where you left off.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. No problem. So, anything else? Anybody else on registration before we go further? Let me show you my list. All right. Okay. So let's go into Math Lab. Oh, before I do that, let's go back to our announcements. So the last one I sent to you guys was Math Lab specifics. Just talking about the different ways that we will be using Math Lab. So first thing is that you cannot pass the course without access to Math Lab. All right, all of our assessments, any tests or homework, anything we do will be generated through Math Lab. So, and then recorded in Math Lab. So I don't use Canvas as your record of grades, it's Math Lab. Instead of putting it in multiple places, we just put it in one spot, which is Math Lab. And you can see all of your grades there. Artist says will be generated through Math Lab. So you must participate or show activity through Math Lab for attendance. So I don't take attendance through Zoom because it's a lot to try to say, okay, first of all, some people come in late and then I have to pause and go look at the list and see who's here, whatever, that type of stuff, or stop in the middle of class and write down someone's name. Or I record each session and I'm going to send out the recordings to everybody weekly. So if that's the case, let's say if you miss a class and then I shoot you the recording. Well, if you saw the recording, which is the same as everybody else, to me, I'm like, that's like you just attended class. It's not like you had to come into a room. So to try to keep attendance on the same playing field, keep it level, I will take attendance off of Math Lab activity. I do look and see who's in Zoom and, to the best of my ability. But like I said, it's easy for somebody to just slip through the cracks when you're talking about staying, focused on lecture and making sure I'm addressing all issues and stuff. So the way you solidify your attendance is through activity in Math Lab. If it's nothing else, just going into a homework, saving it and coming out, that at least puts a timestamp on your activity and gives me something to look at and say, hey, such and such was here or been active, and we're good to go. So your activity in Math Lab does solidify your attendance. So make sure you're active. If you have issues with anything, whether it be attendance, Math Lab, or whatever, make sure you communicate that as soon as possible. When it comes to homework, you have unlimited amount of tries to get the best grade possible on your homework. Homework, the way I look at grading for that, 75 to 84.9 is 90% in the grade book. 85 to 100 is 100%. So if you want to just get full credit on everything, if you reach for 85, you get full 100% on all of your homework assignments. Now, the reason why I didn't mention anything less than 75 is because, with unlimited attempts, there's no such thing as unlimited amount of problems. So truth be told, if you wanted to finesse the system, you could keep clicking on the problem until the problem that pops up that you got the answer to before or something like that. So you really could get at least a 75 on any assignment on any homework assignment if you really want to go through the process. Test reviews are not mandatory, but for every test, I think except for the first one, because the first one is based on like definitions. But for test 2 on down and your final exam, there will be a test review, but it's not mandatory for you to do. But I would suggest you at least take a look at it to see if there's anything that so you'll know what's going to be on the test, right? But if you score 85 or better on it, I can add 5 points to that respective test. For your test, you get 2 attempts to get the best grade possible. Those were the ones that aren't proctored. For any test that will be proctored, we'll talk about that when we get there. But for the test, like for the first test, you can take that whenever you're ready. It'll be open for you to take. So you will have tests that are proctored, tests that are unproctored. Like your final exam has to be proctored. In other words, that's me looking at you, in a Zoom session or whatever. And so you have to take it, during that time session. But like test 1, test 2 will not be proctored. And then you must email me any scratch work. And I always do that general statement. A lot of things for you guys, because of the nature of this course is statistics, may not be much scratch work, but that's just a general statement I have for like my 161 pre-calculus and calculus classes. They have to have scratch work because they have to put some work into, but you'll see when we get there when we start talking about it. Any questions on anything I've said before we actually get into math lab and I'll show you what it looks like?
I have a question.
Yep.
I'm noticing on the homework assignments, it all has the same due date of August 5th. Are we gonna get a schedule of when each assignment is actually due?
We'll get there in a second. We're gonna get in there
Okay,
when we
thank
get
you.
in the math lab. Oh yeah, no, you're fine, you're fine. But you know, so I got my little spiel going on. So once I start going outside of my boxes, then I start getting losing, losing my spot. So yeah, we're gonna get there in a second though, for sure. All right, anything else before we go to math lab? Everybody good? All right, so let's go here. All right, so 245. Okay, we got 2 people enrolled. Okay. All right, so let's look at your assignments. Notice we got homework, quiz and test. Well, let me click on quiz and test right here. Notice that you only have 1 test here. That's the first one. Remember I told you that's going to be open for you to take. Notice you get your 2 attempts. These down here, notice it says sample tests and quizzes. I could not remove these. So don't do them unless you just want to do them. But they don't do anything for your grade or anything. It's just sample tests and quizzes. But like I said, for some reason, Math Lab makes it so that you can't remove them. I don't know why they would do that. But so the only test that you have is right here that's available for you guys. All right, so going to the homework. See all your homework. Test review is set up as a homework, so you can do it unlimited, just like here. And if you were to change this category, see how it just says homework, you can change the quiz and test, or you can change to all if you put them all up. So you see how you have your block of homework, then your tests. Remember I said there's no test review for this one because it's based just on your definitions. And we're going to get to the definitions in a second. But it's only but so many different ways you can answer, the definitions. You'll see the answer right and wrong and stuff. So test 1 should be an easy one for you. But see test 2, and I haven't posted test 2 yet, but test 2 will be right under here. And then if we're gonna proctor this, then you'll see that as an option. You'll see the stuff lined up. All right. So before I go clicking on anything, your classmate mentioned due dates. So notice that we have 8/5, and that is the last date in SIS in order for you guys to be able to submit anything. That's our last date for class period. And so what I normally do with our 245 class is that I have a hard due date at your last date, and then everything is open for you to knock out at your leisure. Just of course you can't move so slow that you're moving past 8/5. So everything is open and everything will be open for you to knock out. So now if you want to know where you should be at certain times, you can always stay according to the lecture. So if today, let's say one day we do chapter 3 and we get to section 3.3, then that's how you want to gauge yourself. Well, I need to be around 3.3 in order to feel that I'm on pace with the class, because I can't I can't hold you accountable for things that we haven't talked about. So if we get to chapter 4, let's say all we do is chapter 4, then that's it. Chapters 1 through 4 is what you will be held accountable for. And so you can always gauge yourself according to where the lecture is. Now, when it comes to chapter 1 and 2, there will not be a legitimate lecture for it. This class ends what time? 1:50. So we'll talk about a few things in chapter 2, but I don't do a lecture on chapters 1 and 2 because they're all definitions. So what's going to happen is for chapters 1 and 2, we have our definitions right here. Chapter 1 definition. It'll come up right here. Chapter 2's definitions. right here. So this is just 14 in chapter 2. That's just one page, but in chapter 1, chapter 1, make sure you're careful because a lot of times people miss this. I'm not sure why, but there are 3 pages in chapter 1. All right, so it goes to 42. Once again, chapter 2 is just one page, just 14. So that's going to be your first assignment, is doing those definitions, and we'll put a due date on it before we leave today. But that's all in your book. You have your e-text right here. You can either click on chapter contents or e-text. If you do chapter contents, you can go straight to it and then hit e-text. And it's not made to be a scavenger hunt. It is not made to be difficult. But when I started doing this, I had plenty of people who thanked me for it, because when it comes to statistics, it can have its own language. And if you don't know terminology, and you have not at least familiarized yourself with the terminology, going forward can be a little tough. And so chapter 1 and chapter 2 are basically definitions and a few graphs. And so notice how this is bolded statistics. Then the next one is data. And all of them are just like that. Let's see what's the next one. Going up. So we don't see one here. Trying to see what our third term is. And you see we got these definitions. So they're right here bolded for you guys. So now when you go back to our definitions.
Which word?
You see statistics, data, population, individual, statistics, and data was on the other page. So all of it is lined up and it's in order. So it wasn't an assignment that was made to be hard, but it's just to familiarize you guys with the terms and definitions that you're going to be dealing with throughout the whole course. So questions on that. So what's going to happen is, before I go there, what's going to happen is, you'll do it whatever way you want to do it, whether you want to type them up, you can download this if you want, type them up, or if you want to write them out, take a picture on your notebook and then shoot them to me. Either way is fine, but you would just email them to me after you're done with them. And a lot of these answers are answers in your homework. So if you were to click on 1.1, I'm going to share this screen. So you see how it's definition defines statistics. So a lot of the stuff that you're going to do, and you see here, explain the difference between population and sample. So that's going to be in your definitions. Homeworks from chapter 1 and chapter 2 are going to be based on those definitions that you're going to do. So, and then that will set you up for the test, for test 1, which is on chapter 1 and chapter 2. All right. Questions so far? Any questions so far? So let's look at, I think 3.1 is good. Number 5. All right, so once you get past the definitions and we start doing calculation, real calculation doesn't really get started until like chapter 3. And that's why some teachers start with just chapter 3. But like I said, going over those definitions are beneficial to setting your foundation for statistics. So you're here, let's say if I want to put this here, you want to find the mean, just put in any old thing, you would hit check answer. They'll try to give you a little bit of a hint. Check answer again. Once again, try to give you a hint. So notice you get 3 chances to get the answer correct. And then if you don't get it right, they'll tell you what the right answer is and what your answer was. And so notice you get a, oh, this was a 2-parter. See if I can do this. Let's do this. So that should be it. Okay, so notice it says similar question or next question. If I hit similar question, then that's going to reset the problem. And that would, give me a new one. Also, probably shouldn't have did that then because I want to show you where this is because a lot of times people miss it. I just want to show you where this button is. So let's say if you didn't hit similar question at the moment because you just wasn't, you didn't feel like doing another problem at the time or you just wasn't ready. All right, so if I close this out, similar question would be down here as well if you want to reset the problem. All right, so you hit that and then same problem, just different numbers. So you have down here your help tools, help me solve this, actually walks you through this problem. So a lot of times people don't do help me solve this unless they're just done with the problem. Because once it walks you through the problem, then it's going to reset it because it just gave you the whole process to the problem you're dealing with. So what a lot of people like to do is view an example where they give you a problem that's very similar to it, just different numbers, and then you can walk through the process. Sometimes people even print this out. You can print it out right here. All right. Then get more help. Some problems will have a video. And then they can also send you to the textbook where it's located. StatCrunch is Pearson's version of Excel. You can learn how to use it if you like, but you don't have to. Then you can shoot me an email about the problem. Ask my instructor. Sometimes there has been times wherein I didn't get these, or at least somebody would tell me that they did ask my instructor and say, and I'll let them know I didn't get it. So it could have been a user error, maybe not. Sometimes interfaces don't connect like it should, technology. So just let you know, if you do send something like that and I don't respond, it's a possibility that I may not have gotten it. Just shoot me a regular email and then we can make sure you're clear. All right. Questions on the help tools, questions on Math Lab, how it works. Also, when you go to your list of problems, notice if you get it wrong, there will be a red X right here. If you get it all right, it'll be green check. Let's say you got it wrong, then you do a problem over and you get it right, that red X will turn into a green check. If you get part of it right, part of it wrong, you'll have a green check / red X. So, all the information will be there for you to know exactly what you did. All right. And once you submit, you get immediate feedback on what your score is at the moment. All right. Any questions, concerns? Everybody good? All right. All right, so once again, we have the hard due date of 8/5. Just a heads up, that 8/5, the week of 8/5, because that's a Friday. So our final exam will be during that week. What I will do is give you multiple days to choose from in which you can log on to Zoom and take your final exam. You want to set aside 2 hours. So just give you a heads up now. So if anybody needs to take off work or whatever, 2 hours during that week. I need to go in through that week and see what would be good times. Also, I'm going to send you office hours. And so I may just leave them at office hour times. Probably do that. So I'll send those to you guys and go from there. But there will be a 2 hour block that you want to set aside, during that week of August 5th. All right. Once again, you do not have to come in. You'll just log into Zoom. Okay. So we got these definitions, chapter 1, chapter 2. Also, I didn't mention how we were going to go through class. So as far as teaching, lecturing, I will be talking from this screen real time. You see I can write and talk. You see everything as it's happening. So it will be just like we are in the classroom, just that I'm in my room, you in your room. And that's the difference. Well, other than that, it's still the same experience. If I were to move a little too fast, let me know. I can slow down. Or if I need to go back up so you can see whatever it is you were trying to copy, because anything like that, just let me know. Either unmute or type it in the chat. I'm watching the chat as well. So we are looking at 523. 5:30. 5:30 should be a good for the definitions. Give you a week, knock it out. So that's next Monday. All right. So, and if you have any problems with getting it to me by 5:30, it's all about communication. That's all it's about. Talk to me, let me know, we'll work it out. But I do want to put a date out there so that we have something to gauge by. So, you don't want to linger in chapter 1 and chapter 2 too long, because we're not going to sit in there as far as lecture is concerned. We're going to do a few things in that. But don't forget, we only have 10 weeks. And this stuff can move kind of quick if you're not careful. And so you want to go ahead and get on this stuff, start knocking it out, especially while it's easy. Chapter 1, chapter 2, once again, is based on definitions. So while it's just definition based, and it's not like I'm making you sit there and memorize definitions, like you're going to have all the stuff at your availability to just look at, pick the right answer and just move without any type of calculations. So you want to take advantage of these times, knock the stuff out, so that when we get to things that you may have to slow up on, you have the freedom to slow up on it. All right. So let's see. Questions. Trying to make sure I've covered everything I need to cover. I told you I'm going to send you office hours. Also, I'm going to send you pre-recordings of last semester's lectures, so that if anybody want to move ahead, you have that freedom. Yeah, so not a problem with me. Even if somebody gets so far ahead, they're like, is it possible I can schedule my final exam a little early because I got such and such to do, blah, 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 blah. It's all about communication. I'm all about communication. So most definitely let me know and we can make things happen. I don't have a problem with doing that at all. It's all about making sure our schedules are clear. So, but I will be sending those to you as well. Syllabus is in Math Lab. I don't think I pointed that out. If you need the syllabus, is right here. Probably didn't change the dates on it. Yep, but it's still, there's all the same stuff if you just needed it. But I need to go in and change the dates. Notice it says spring, so I need to change it to summer and stuff like that. But it's still there if anybody needed the content. I know sometimes people need the syllabus, for various reasons. So, but it's right there. All right, let's see. Anything else? Any questions while I'm trying to make sure when I go through my list, make sure I covered everything? Questions? I need to do that. Everybody good? Everybody straight? Okay. Let's see. This class ends at, I think it's like 150 or something like that. And also that 150, I believe, is a typo. It gotta be, or it has to be. One of my classes have a typo. Because I have one class that started at 140, and this class ends at 150, and registrar let it slide. So somebody has a typo. So we probably won't go all the way to 150 for the most part. Because basically, the way I do class is that I lecture for the amount of time that I lecture. And then when I'm done lecturing, I say, for lack of a better word, I don't like to hold people hostage. So for those of us who are done for the day, they have the luxury of leaving. For those of us who have questions, they can stay back and ask whatever questions they want to ask. So every day is opportunity for questions. And normally I address those at the end of class. Sometimes, depending on what's going on, the nature of the lecture, nature of what's going on that day, I may just go ahead and knock out questions at the beginning of the class. But most of the time, for every class, there will be opportunity at the end of class to answer whatever questions you guys may have. All right. All right. Any questions? Everybody good? Everybody straight? All right. So, okay, for this class, there were only a couple of things that I wanted to address in chapter 2 that people have had questions on. So I guess we can go ahead and knock that out. And then on next class, we can go ahead and get into chapter 3, just do like 3.1 and 3.2. Kind of easy content, easy calculation stuff while you guys are still knocking out those definitions, mean, mode, and median, that type of thing, when a lot of you have done that before. So, but just be careful, like I said before, don't take for granted, the easiness of the beginning of it. While this stuff is easy, knock this stuff out so that you're not in a position of distress when it comes down to August. And don't forget, we only have 10 weeks. So, we gotta, at some point we gotta move, so just throwing it out there that at some point, we're gonna be picking up the pace. Like chapter 3 is only 4 sections. It's 3-1, 3-2, 3-4, 3-5. And then chapter 4 is only 3 sections. So like before you know it, we'll be sitting in chapter 5 if you're not careful. So yeah, so just throwing it out there, giving give you guys a heads up. So in chapter 2, one thing that people oftentimes had questions on is the distribution of shapes. That first one is the bell-shaped curve. And this is coming out of chapter 2. Once again, it's a bell-shaped curve. And you'll see this in your definitions as well. Your mean is in the middle. That's what emphasizing right here. Your mean is in the middle. Half of your data is to the right, half of data to the left of your mean. It's symmetric about the mean. That means it reflects about the mean. And it's considered your normal distribution. And so notice I wrote right here as a note to remember this one, because that's the one that's going to keep coming up as we progress throughout the course. All right. The second type of distribution is uniform distribution. And it's more so like a block where you have the same level of distribution throughout the graph. All right. Am I still holding on to number 1? All right, so 3 and 4 distributions are the ones that I really wanted to emphasize. We're talking about being skewed left. Like in my mind, I always felt like if I saw skewed left or saw the word skewed left, it felt like it means being pushed to the left, but it's actually the opposite. Notice the bulk of your data is over here to the right and the tail of the data is to the left. So when you're saying being skewed left, that means the tail of your data is to the left and the bulk of your data is being pushed to the right. And then for skewed right is the opposite. Your data, the bulk of your data is pushed to the left, but your tail is to the right. All right, any problems? All right. Another thing that people have had questions on in the past is the stem leaf plot. So now, when it comes to this, I think this is the only other thing that people pointed out in chapter 1, chapter 2. But if you have any questions, make sure you ask. Every day is opportunity for questions, and it doesn't matter what your questions are, especially when it comes to graphs. Not the best drawer in the world, as you can see, going up here. So drawing graphs not really my forte. But if you have any questions on any graphs, make sure you bring them to class, and we can go ahead and knock those out. Make sure you're clear, whether it be a pie graph, bar graph, chart, or whatever the case may be. So here we have a stem leaf plot, and a leaf is going to be the rightmost digit of a data value. And then your stem will be all of the values that precede that rightmost digit. So when I look at the number 53, my leaf is the 3, my stem is the 5. If I have 127, the leaf is 7, and then 1 and 2, 12 would be the stem. So once again, the rightmost digit is going to be your leaf, and everything that comes before that digit will be your stem. So over here, I had 1,234. The 4 would be the leaf, and then 123 would be the stem. All right. So let's try this out. So let's look at this data set. 41, 50, 56, 71, 72, 75, 80, 80, 82, 83, 84, 88, 88, 89, 91, 92, 93, 100, 101, 101, and 112. Let me rewrite this. Give you a chance to write those data values down. All right, everybody got them. So notice in this purple box, you want to establish your minimum and maximum values. So your data set is not always going to be given to you from least to greatest. I went ahead and did that just for board purposes because, why mix them up when I don't have to, right? But sometimes your data set may not be in order. So you want to establish what is your smallest value and what is your largest value. All right. So this data set goes from the 40s up to the 110s. If you're talking about going from 41 to 112, this data set goes from the 40s to the 110s. So let me erase some of this stuff and we're going to walk through it. All right. So this is how you set it up. Once again, you're going from the 40s to the 110s. So we set up our stems 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. That represent our tens place because that's where our stems come from. All right. So then from there, each leaf you will write next to the stem. So the only value that we have in the 40s is 41. So I will put a 1 right here. Go to the next one. We have 50 and 56. So that would be 0 and 6. So the 0 represents 50, the 6 represents 56. Now notice we don't have any 60s anywhere. So what we do not do is put a 0 right there because that would represent the number 60. We just will leave it blank. And then we got 72, 72. If 72 appears twice, then you write it twice. 75, and that's it for that. And we got 80, 80, 82, 83, 84, 88, 88, 89, 91, 92, 93. Then we have 100, 101, 101, and then 112. All right, questions on what we did with that? Make sure we're okay. All right. So this is just another way of expressing your data, showing your data values. This is easily could have been represented as a bar graph if I were to, flip it the other way and use bars. I could have called it a bar graph. But you use certain ways of displaying information to appease your audience. When it comes to statistics, it's really all about stating your case and making sure you have the attention of your audience so that you may be able to sway them to your side. So statistics is really pretty much the mastering of doing that, whether it be numbers or, like I said, graphical representations. You ever heard, I know you heard saying that numbers never lie, but they can mislead. And so when it comes to statistics, it's all about manipulating numbers in such a way that you get people to go in the argument that you're trying to, persuade. That's why, when you see numbers politically, I never really get too up or too down because I know that you can take those same numbers and make them say the actual opposite. But you know, that's how this thing goes. Let's see. I think that is, yeah. So that is it as far as stuff in chapter 2 that I know people have had questions on. Now, we already talked about what's expected of you up to this point. So erase that date because that don't hold true for us. So these are the things that really are on the table right now. So you talk about chapter 1, chapter 2 definitions, chapter 1, chapter 2 math lab homework, which are going to be based on those definitions, and then test 1, which is based on chapters 1 and chapters 2. All right. So once again, the marker for those definitions we talked about next Monday. You know, if you get those knocked out by next Monday, shoot them to me an email. Then that'd be good to go. And as far as your homework, you want to get this stuff done as soon as possible because we're going to start rolling and we're going to start getting into these other chapters. And what you don't want to do is still be sitting, you know, chapter 1, chapter 2-ish, you know, when we're, you know, chapter 4 type stuff. You know what I mean? So you want to get in the math lab as soon as possible, start working on the stuff. Don't forget, if you have not paid for access yet, don't have it just as of yet, you got the 14-day free pass that you can use and start working on the stuff and start knocking it out. Okay. So any questions, concerns, comments before we close? Anything, anybody? Good, everybody clear. Also, don't know everybody's background, haven't looked into it or anything like that, but if you have taken Math 245 before at TCC, and because we should be using the same book across the campus, you can use that code twice. Should be able to use that code twice. So if you've taken it once before, let's say you didn't get the grade that you desired, so that's why you're here. You still should be able to use that code one more time. So try that out. Let me know if you have any issues with that. We're just throwing it out there, just in case that's someone's scenario. All right. Anything else? Anybody else before we close? Everybody good? All right. So you guys know what you have to do. Try the stuff out. See if you have any issues with registering. See if you have any issues with MathLab. See if you have any issues with e-text. Get in there, get into your definitions, and we'll make sure we get those things ironed out. And then next class, we'll touch a little bit on chapter 3, and but not too heavy because you guys got work to do. All right. So you guys have a good one. Be safe, and I will see you on Wednesday.
Have a good day.
Oh, thanks. You do the same. Take care.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
All right. Thanks. You take care. Do the same.